And now, please welcome Katrina Lake, founder and CEO of Stitch Fix, and Ryan Mack, writer at Forbes.
That was a pretty aggressive song now.
I like it. I liked it.
You like? I like it too. Hi, Katrina. How's
Hi.
it going?
Great.
You're the CEO and founder of Stitch Fix. So for the audience out there, what is Stitch Fix?
Yeah, so Stitch Fix, we're in the business of recommendations and personalization. And today what we do is primarily kind of women's apparel personal shopping. And so the way that it works is we have clients who will sign up and let us know their general size and style preferences. And they'll schedule a date on which they want to receive a Stitch Fix. And we will have a stylist who will put together a selection of 5 items for her to try on at home. We do that through, it's a lot of art and science, and so we are located in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, and we have a very large technology and data team, and so there's a lot of kind of science that goes into how we help our stylists to generate those recommendations and to kind of better understand our clients over time and better serve our clients over time.
So Stitch Fix, what are you fixing that's broken in traditional retail?
Yeah, so it's been great to hear all the other sessions today, and there's, I think we're all very aware of a lot of the shortcomings in traditional retail today. And one of the epiphanies that I had was that there was a lot of innovation that was going on around how do you get things to people cheapest, how do you get things to people fastest. But the value proposition, especially for apparel, you're not going on a date on a Friday and thinking like, let me look on Amazon and see what the cheapest dress that I can find to wear on my date is. Like, that's not the way that people shop for dresses. And so what you're really looking for is what dress is going to look best on me, what dress is going to be best for my body, what dress is going to make me feel most confident. And there are so few tools that are available to people to do that online. And I think what's really hard about online is that there are literally millions of products for you to choose from. And so I really felt like there was a lack of innovation kind of against what people really want in apparel and what was going on and how technology was being applied. And so that was one opportunity that I saw. And the other opportunity that I saw was really around kind of the evolution of brick and mortar and online and how the two work together or how the two compete in people's wallets. And, ironically, all of Stitch Fix is done online today, but a lot of the inspiration for Stitch Fix actually came from what brick and mortar used to be. And so the high level of service of being able to walk into a store and being able to have somebody help you to find things that are going to be best for your body, these were all things that I felt like as people were stripping more and more costs out of the brick and mortar world, and as people online were focusing around cheapest and fastest, that was another kind of opportunity that I saw could be fixed.
Right. So I know a lot of companies out there, they aspire to be the Netflix of apparel. It's a term that's been used. You have a chief algorithms officer that came from Netflix. What advantage does he give you, and what advantage does a data science team give you over other retailers?
Yeah, we have a large data science team, and we really use our data science to help drive decisions in our business every single day. One of my favorite parts about our business is that 100% of what we sell is based on recommendation. And so when you look around at other people who are great at recommendations, Amazon, 35% of kind of what they sell is by recommendation. LinkedIn, 45% of their connections are by recommendation. And at Stitch Fix, 100%, everything that we sell is by recommendation. And so what that means that we have to be really, really good at that. And so it is a combination of art and science, and we are, our goal really is to arm our stylists with kind of best-in-class data and best-in-class understandings of who our clients are, what they're looking for. And that data science team is a really important part of that. So probably the most obvious example of how data science operates at Stitch Fix is the algorithms that we have at the intersection of a client and are kind of a client and the product that we have. So you can imagine as a stylist, you're trying to make a selection for somebody. You're looking for 5 things, and you have over 1,000 to choose from, even when you're looking at things that are her size, things that are colors that she likes or excludes the ones that she doesn't like. And our recommendations team is actually able to generate very, very accurate probabilities for our stylist so that the stylist knows that this client, she's going to Mexico and I really think she's going to love this romper. Even though the algorithm thinks this only has a 25% chance of being kept, the stylist can make decisions like that. But she may know better with the algorithm in her pocket as she's trying to choose denim for you. And so if you're saying, I really want to revamp the denim in my wardrobe, and we will know based on kind of the historical data that we have about our clients that we're serving right then, but also the clients that we've served in the past, so that when our stylist is making selections for that client, she has a really high degree of accuracy with which kind of what she can expect will happen when that product is sent out. And so Eric, who you mentioned, who came from Netflix, we kind of measure that team by saying, like, what did we predict and what actually happened? So when we said this had a 25% chance of being kept, what actually happened? When this had a 75% chance of being kept, what actually happened? And that bound of like predicted and actual is incredibly narrow and tight. And Eric will tell you that it's one of the tightest bands he's ever seen. And that really is because of the not just the data that we're able to get and understand from our clients over time, but also kind of how that evolves and how that team's able to use it.
And how big is that data science team now?
So we have, I think, hot off the press, we have over 80 data scientists and about 50 have PhDs. It's one of the bigger data science teams that we're aware of, and that team is able to recruit some incredible people to really do super interesting things with us.
And a lot of the data they're working with actually is stuff that your consumers will actively give to you. They'll fill out a survey, spend about 5 or 10 minutes filling out the survey, saying their dress size or how tall they are. How are you getting them to willingly give up that kind of information to?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot, and it's interesting because our clients, when they sign up, they're really making a commitment when they first sign up, and so they're spending about 10 or 15 minutes filling out a survey, letting us know their preferences. And the reason that they do that really is this implicit contract that we have with our clients that's going to help make their experience better. And so I know there's a lot of people that have been talking today and in the audience around how can I get more data from our customers? How can we get them to share more with us? And I think my big learning is, that contract of like, if you share with me, what your denim size is, I'm going to be able to get you denim that fits you better. If you share with me why you didn't like this blouse, I'm going to be able to get you a better one next time. You really have to be able to demonstrate the value of that. And so, we're very careful to not ask questions there are questions that would help us for marketing purposes that we don't ask because it's not going to improve her experience. And so we really try to hold ourselves accountable to this high bar of only asking what we know we'll be able to use to kind of make her experience better.
Right. So if you guys are doing a good job at collecting data, who's doing a poor job of that?
So, I think it's not about kind of doing a good job of collecting data or not collecting it. It's really about what data you collect. And so at this point, we have millions upon millions of intersections of clients and product. And when we send out a fix of 5 items, our clients are letting us know the vast majority of the time, how is the fit, how is the size, all of kind of their both quantitative and qualitative feelings about how they experience that fix. And so those millions of data points, there's many other retailers that will tell you we have tons of data. We have fabrication, we have country of origin, we have color. But the reality is that data is not that meaningful. It's not very high signal, and that's not what actually drives somebody's purchase decision. And so on the product side, we have the data that actually matters. And so all of our product, one of the things about Stitch Fix is that we are a true retailer. We buy and hold inventory. And that's very important, actually, because across our 5 warehouses, we're bringing product in, and we can actually know how the product is fitting. We're able to attribute the product across things that matter. And so, it's not just that we have fabrication and country of origin, but we have, how does this fit on somebody who's tall? How does this fit on someone who's curvy? And those are actually the attributes that matter as people are purchasing clothes. And so, I think that having the right data is kind of one element. I think the other piece of it is this big data versus what we call small data. And so there's a lot of talk about big data, whether it's kind of tracking somebody's behavior or trying to collect, all the places that they go online. And Yahoo has like a 200-page paper that kind of boils the ocean of all of the big data available about people to be able to help deduce, like, is this person searching on Yahoo a male or a female? And like, our perspective on it is like, why don't you just ask? And so by just asking our clients, like, what are you looking for? By just asking our clients, how did this fit? We're able to get much more high signal data. And so rather than trying to boil the ocean of like, oh, this client looked at, I don't know, like looked at SAT books on Amazon, or this client looked at a few red dresses. What we can do is we can ask someone's age so that we know if they're, actually studying for the SATs or not. We can ask, do you have any occasions coming up, so that we know if they're looking for dresses to go to a wedding or not. And so really to be able to have the ability to have that connection with our customers, where we're not kind of boiling the ocean to try to guess based on somebody's Twitter feed, like what their sentiment is. We can just ask them if they're happy. We're able to have much more high signal, much more actionable data. And so our recommendations as a result can be much more accurate, because we can kind of better understand the intentions of our customers simply by just asking them.
At the same time, if Yahoo came to me and asked me how old I was and what gender I was, wouldn't that feel a little creepy? Or
Oh, absolutely. And this is exactly the challenge, because I think unless you can demonstrate, as a retailer or as Yahoo or, as Amazon, like even with Amazon, like, I trust Amazon for many things, but I don't trust them for everything. And
you don't have a Prime account, right?
The what?
You don't have a Prime account.
Yeah, I've been trying to avoid having a Prime account, which is actually quite hard. If Yahoo or if Amazon presented me with like a survey of 20 questions about myself, like I'm not sure that it's worth my time to invest that, because I don't know that, I'm going to be able to have my experience improved by it. And I think that's what's really hard. And so with Yahoo, like, I'm sure they would love to know, if you're married or not, or what age you are, and if you're interested in buying a car in the next year. Like, they would love to know all those things. But, the contract of, like, why would you give that to them? Like, how does it improve your experience? I think if you don't have that part, you really lose trust with the customer.
So where's Stitch Fix at right now as a business? How big are you guys?
Yeah, so we don't share much in the way of numbers, but we've been around for 5 years now, and we're now over 4,000 employees. We have 5 distribution centers. We're probably much bigger than people realize on the outside. We've recently started testing in men's. And so for the first 4 years of the company, we really were very much in kind of like a chase mode, and we had huge organic growth that we were really doing our best to grow into. And in the last year or so, we've been able to start kind of making some investments in other things. And, men's is one of these that we've just started testing. That's been fun.
So is there anything similar or different about men and women that you've found in kind of this beta test of the men's service?
Yeah, I mean, it's super early, so it's a little hard to say for sure, but it's been a super interesting test. So we've been doing a small beta test now, and we're hoping to be able to roll something out more broadly to men in the fall, so stay tuned. But I think in the early days, my hypothesis is that men and women are maybe more similar than we had originally hypothesized. And so a lot of people, I think part of this is a trend of men are much more fashion aware, I think, now than they were 10 years ago. Part of it might just be the venue, the way that we're communicating with men, and so I personally have been surprised with how much feedback men are willing to share with us, and also how much of kind of, I don't know, you hear a lot of feedback from women about how they feel about their bodies and how the clothes make them feel, and I've been really surprised actually to hear a lot of kind of similar sentiments from men, both on the positive side of how they love how this makes them feel hot or this makes them feel a certain way, but also on the negative side of, like, we'll hear men talk about their thunder thighs or the junk in their trunk, and I don't think I realized that. Yeah, I didn't realize that men kind of had many of the same insecurities that many of us as women have, and so I think so far my impression is that there may be more similarities than differences.
Cool. Well, with that, I think we're out of time. Thanks so much, Katrina, and thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And now, please welcome Mike